This video is for my support of Ed and Louise Brown. Recently, I had read on the internet and various independent news about the sentencing of Ed and Louise Brown, including possible other charges that could possibly be laid against them. A few months ago, Ed and Louise Brown was hauled into court on tax evasion charges. But when they went to court to argue their motions, the courts extremely limited their views. When I read some of the editorial comments made concerning the trial, it was kind of funny because one of them wrote that the judge showed great leniency in allowing them to present their views to a jury, and I disagree. That's exactly what you're supposed to do to prove innocence or guilt. If you purposely or not purposely tried to deceive anyone. But the way that editor was talking, that should have been done once they were found guilty in its sentencing. If that would have been the case, what's the sense on having a trial? You see, that's the way this country's going. We're losing a lot of things. The biggest is our freedoms. Right now we are under admiralty law, which basically means our Constitution don't mean a thing. And when they tried to defend themselves to make their case known, not just to a jury of their peers, but to all of us, why? Basically, the judge did hamstring them. So just before the end of the trial, Ed Brown says, screw it. This is a kangaroo court and I'll have nothing to do with it. He left. His wife stayed behind to see how the case was going. Well, the judge, after they found her guilty, they ordered his wife, Louise Brown, Elaine Brown, I'm sorry, my mistake, Elaine Brown, not to go be with her husband, but to stay with her older son and wear an electronic monitor, as if she was a dangerous criminal. Most murderers and rapists don't have to wear electronic monitors. She was required to wear an electronic monitor. Well, she broke the conditions of her release by going back to her husband, and worse, at least by their sense, destroying the electronic monitor and making a stand with her husband. I am proud to say I support Ed and Louise Brown because they show the true guts and determination of this country. 250 years ago, our forefathers made a stunning revelation. Men who were very rich, had lots of money, had no reason to turn against the king. They were of high prestige. The funny part about it is, after reading this, they fought in a time where back then treason against the king was punishable by death. Today, yeah. So what's the sense on 5 years and 3 years probation? That's nothing compared to being hanged for insurrection against the government. Back then they did risk their lives. Today, only thing Ed and Louise are now is criminals who never committed a crime. They committed administrative crime, which is basically saying to the government, I want you to show me the law that Congress and Senate has passed requiring me to pay an income tax. It doesn't exist. When they tried to bring that out to the jury, that the victory tax was appealed in 1946, they weren't allowed to bring that information up, and a lot of others. They were just told that that the government just says there is, and that's it. They don't have to show you nothing. They just say it. So with so little information, the jury convicted him. An ignorant jury convicted him. And a judge decided that the recommendations from the parole and probation says they don't need jail time. They're not that kind of a hazard. And the prosecution wanted them to spend 8 years. Indirectly, the prosecution got what they wanted. Even though it ain't 8 straight years in prison, they got 5 years, 3 years probation, with orders to do whatever the IRS tells them to do. I tell you, America, it's time to fight back. Don't file 1040s. File either 9 dependents or exemptions on your W-4s. Just get the hell out of the system and then shred your 1040s. And if you're forced to file a 1040, file it under duress. It's a fraudulent document anyway, and there's no law that requires you to even fill it out. Any document that states you must waive a right, your Fifth Amendment right, is not worth doing. I implore you, America, fight back.